when that phone rings, if you cannot close that sale, you will always struggle as a professional private investigator. Now, most great salespeople are selling something tangible, something physical, something the customer can hold and feel and see. Selling investigative services, however, is totally different, and we don't have a sales floor. We don't have fancy display shelves. We don't have a cash register to ring the customer up after they decide on their purchases. We have to work the phone as if it is our sales floor. We need to paint the picture of the product, our services, and we have to walk them to the cash register and close that sale. Now, first thing we have to do is answer the question, what am I selling? That answer isn't as simple as surveillance or background checks or process serving. Now, I don't care what you charge. If you do surveillance and your hourly fee is $150 an hour, great. If it's $100 an hour, great. If it's $75 an hour, great. If you present it that way to your client, folks, you open yourself up to many challenges in closing the sale. Look at it this way. When you buy a pound of coffee, you pay $6 or $10 or $15. You don't pay by the cup, do you? I mean, if they said it's only 20 cents a cup, then you might only want 3 cups, not 50 cups. They sell it by the pound or the bag or the can. You need to sell your professional services the same way. Now, there are the one-off services like process serving, skip tracing, locates, things like that, and we will discuss those one-off services in just a little bit. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. When someone calls you and says, do you do surveillance and how much an hour do you charge? Your answer should not be, yes, we do, and we charge $100 an hour. When you do this, you open the door for the customer to control the sale and for the customer to easily price shop you. Instead, your answer should be something like, yes, we can help you with your surveillance needs. Every case is a little bit different. Tell me what is going on. Now, you have taken the lead in the conversation and have opened the door for the customer to tell you all of the gory details of the case. Once the customer starts talking, you need to stop talking and start listening. Listen to every detail. Write down important pieces of information so you fully understand how to best help the client. As you are listening, start working on a preliminary case plan. It may sound like it's a divorce situation with children involved, and maybe the customer is worried that their spouse is drinking when he has the kids. In this situation, the most likely route for your investigation to start is with surveillance. But don't just tell the customer, yes, you need surveillance. We can do that for $100 an hour. How much do you need? Instead, you need to break out the old calculator and do some math. I always suggest to have 3 case scenarios for your client: a lower price, a mid-range, and a more comprehensive investigation. In this case, I would suggest to the client something like this. We can definitely help you, and surveillance would be the best way to gain the evidence that you need. We can initiate surveillance starting this weekend and cover the next 3 weekends for a total of 6 days. To get that started, we would require a retainer of $5,400. Now wait, there's actually a better way to start. We can definitely help you, and surveillance would be the best way to obtain the evidence you need. What budget do you have in mind? Doing this puts the ball in the customer's court. Most of the time, though, they're going to say something like, well, I don't know, that's why I'm calling. Then you can pull out your plans. Now, how did I come up with the $5,400, you ask? Simple. I assumed 8 hours of surveillance with an additional hour a day to help cover travel, mileage, report, and video time. So 9 hours a day. Then I make it simple. $100 an hour, so $900 a day times 6 days. $5,400. If the customer thinks this is too high, then you can go to plan B. 4 days, 2 weekends, $3,600. Then if you still need to go down, you can do 1 weekend, 2 days at $1,800. Now there are 3 key things that you must keep in mind here. Key number 1 is to gather enough information that you can make an educated calculation for the retainer. In my example, I only have $100 to cover travel time, mileage, report, and video time each day. Now if the client's spouse lives 5 hours away, you need to make sure all of that time and that mileage is calculated in there. The second key thing you need is a good way to calculate things, folks. A really easy way is to always assume a minimum of 1 hour a day for report and video time and an hour for every 40 to 50 miles roughly for travel time and mileage. So if the subject is 30 minutes away, I would do 8 hours of surveillance, 1 hour for report and video time, and 1 hour to cover travel and mileage, or a total of 10 hours a day. Multiply the 10 hours a day by the amount of days you will be working the case. To make it even simpler, I have a retainer calculator that I created in Excel, and I'm going to leave a link down below. The third key is to always start high and work low as needed. You can always lower your price, but you can rarely raise your price, folks. Now, how to close the deal, you ask? Well, the easiest way is like this. Mr. Customer, we can definitely help you, and surveillance would be the best way to gain the evidence that you need. We can initiate surveillance starting this weekend and cover the next 3 weekends for a total of 6 days. We can get that started for you by completing a contract today and getting a retainer of $5,400. We can do all of this electronically. What is a good email I can send everything to? This will usually garner one of a few responses, one being, what other options do I have? This may be the customer looking for a lower price point. A good response here might be something like, we can do 2 weekends instead of 3 to save you a little bit of money. The retainer for that would only be $3,600. What email can I send the contract to for the 2 weekends? Then if they still balk at the price, you can go to the single weekend. 2-day surveillance for $1,800. If that is too high, then you can respond with something like this. I know it's a lot of money, Mr. Customer. What would work best for your budget? Now, they will usually give you a number. Let's say they say something like, I was hoping to only spend $1,000 or less. You can then easily respond with, we can definitely work within your budget. What we can do for you, Mr. Customer, is still conduct 2 days, 2 half days of surveillance, and we can still start this weekend. What do you think would be the best hours for us to work this case for you? Doing this, you maintain the integrity of your hourly fees and still get the job. I would rather get 2 half days at my full rate than get 2 full days at a discounted rate any day. One-off services are those things like process serving, skip traces, locates, anything that has a set fee for the job. First thing you want to do is make sure you have a rate sheet for these so you know what to charge. Second, never, and I mean never, ever, ever, give the customer your rate sheet. Just keep it near to your desk for quick reference. These calls are easier to close than most people think. All you really need to do is get the client to take action. Similar to the case for the surveillance, once they give you their email, they have taken action. With these, though, it's a little bit different. The customer calls and says, I need a process server to deliver some papers to my ex. How much do you charge? Usually the first thing out of somebody's mouth is their fee, $75. That's the wrong approach, folks. You first want to ask some clarifying questions. What type of papers do you have? How quickly do you need them served? Where are they going? Getting answers to these questions allows you to price your services accordingly and have a meaningful discussion with your client. You now know it's temporary restraining orders. They wish to have it served today or tomorrow. You can give an educated answer. Absolutely. We can take care of that right away for you, Mr. Customer. Rush service for temporary restraining orders is $150. That includes first attempt within 24 hours, a total of 3 attempts, along with a notarized affidavit of service once we are done. All you need to do is scan and email us the documents along with this information. Once we receive that, we will send you an invoice which you can pay online. After we have the document and the payment, we will schedule the work. Do you have a pen and paper handy so you can jot down my email? Once they write down your email, boom, the sale is closed. From my experience, 90+% of the time, if they write down my email, they will send me the documents. The sale is closed. Now, a key here, I'm not the cheapest PI or process server in town, nor do I try to be. I offer premium services at competitive prices. I close my sales by closing the deal, not by lowballing to beat my competition. I let my competition have those cheap customers. They are usually too big of a pain in the rear anyway, and you have to handhold them throughout the entire process. If you would like even more detail on closing sales as a professional private investigator, check out my book, Sales Basics for Private Investigators. I'll leave a link down below for it. In my book, you will learn more about topics like first contact, solidifying the sale, retrieving customer-provided information, a sample rate sheet, a customer intake form, and an engagement agreement just for you.